No, I'm not going to do assignments for you guys. No, recession forms are still not out yet. They will be out soon. How skilled should you be? It's going to be a beginner friendly hack, so don't worry too much about it. There will be people to help you out. Besides, you have 24 hours to figure stuff out. There's a lot of time. Can you have five in a team? No, man. Why do you need five people?
I think I'll start.
Wait for like 2, 3 more minutes. Just because I don't want to like
Okay.
keep letting people in after it begins. That's the problem with sharing
You
the
should have
link.
let someone else start the meeting.
There are 100 people in here. I believe that's the limit for Google Meet.
No, 250 people. So just wait for 2 to 3 more minutes. A few of you are confused with the what exactly is a hackathon. So yeah, wait for some more time and you guys will be clear with it.
Okay, got scikit-learn. The value loss goes down to 10 power minus 27. I think that's how far it
Wow.
goes.
Wow, nice. Good stuff. Try using the wait, this is the scikit-learn library, right? You used or
Yeah, right. Pip install.
yeah, cool. You guys can't enter the call. That's weird. Um, this is G Suite account. Oh wait. Yeah, I have started recording. Thanks for the reminder.
Capped at 100. Don't we have 250 for G Suite?
Yeah, I mean there were more than 100 people on the machine learning call itself. I'm telling you, calendar has been giving me issues since morning today.
Sure, he scheduled it with the Hackerspace account and not yours.
Yeah, yeah. That's why I'm on this account right now. Um, just post it on the server, no? That can't do anything. Okay, I guess since it's capped at 100, it can't really do anything. Let's just start off. I need to just post on the server what exactly is going on.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So firstly, hey everyone, good evening. We are going to talk about what exactly is a hackathon and you know some pointers about a hackathon, how to go about it, um, and just let's just see how to exactly handle a hackathon stuff. So now what exactly is a hackathon? So a lot of you know ask me what kind of algorithmic questions and stuff will be asked and stuff like that, but a hackathon is not like that. Okay, it's not that. So a hackathon is basically a timed event. Okay, so these are usually 24 hours, 36 hours, or 48 hours, but most of them are either 24 or 36. 48 is a bit too much. You probably won't hear of those type of hackathons much. So what is the point of a hackathon? In that timed event, what you're supposed to do is you are supposed to build any uh, working solution of any working solution to any kind of problem that is present. Okay. So for example, let us take you know you want to solve the problem of, let's say, a centralized database for health records. Okay. So in those 24 hours, you can build any product that helps solve the issue. Now, the product can be an app, it can be a web app, so it does not have to be an Android app or iOS. It can even be a simple Python script and so on. So basically, it's a timed event where you work together with your teammates to, you know, build a product like that. So no, there are no algorithms, and they don't give you a question and you're supposed to solve that question. There's nothing like that. So now the question is, what exactly are problem statements? What exactly, like, how do people set them? So most hackathons have something known as a theme, okay, or multiple themes for that matter. And themes can either be healthcare, they can be education, they can be security. Sometimes they go on a broader level and they say machine learning, app development, web development, and so on. So basically, there are themes such as so on, and you are basically allowed to pick up any single problem related to a theme and then solve that problem. For example, the example that I gave earlier, actually, the healthcare one, uh, that comes out of the healthcare domain, and you are basically trying to solve a problem which is a centralized, uh, you know, database of health records, which is actually a pretty popular problem that people tend to pick up for hackathons. So yeah, so far, any questions, any doubts? Anything you guys would like to know? Okay, so moving on. So yeah, hackathons are basically that. So in most hackathons, there is an additional theme which is known as open innovation. Okay, so open innovation basically means no theme. There is no constraint. You are allowed to work on anything you want. You are allowed to build any single solution to any single problem statement, and yeah, you can represent it however you want. In most cases, you should not pick open innovation unless your project lines up with a domain, because there are a lot of people who actually select open innovation. But you also find a lot of people going for open innovation because their project or their idea does not align itself with any particular theme that exists. So yeah, most hackathons do have a theme, but do note that Space Jam will not have a theme. The simple reason being is we do not expect you guys to, come up with very specific solutions, and we want you guys to be as creative as possible. So at least for the first iteration of Space Jam this year, we will keep it open innovation. So there will not be any kind of cap on the theme chosen. So that's about that. So are there any questions so far? Anything?
Yes, one question. Does
Yeah.
this mean open innovation has no actual question? You just have to do whatever you want to impress the judges or whoever is going to be.
No,
Wait.
not exactly. There has to be a particular use case or application of your idea. You can't just make a snake and ladders game and show it off. Okay, it's not like that. It has to solve a problem. So hackathons are about solving problems. They're about coming up with solutions that solve a problem in your own way. Um, so yeah, you cannot just make a simple game or something like that and move on, unless of course the game helps in a certain way or the app helps in a certain way.
So it's just we are going to assign ourselves our own problems and
No.
practical problems, and then we'll be
Yeah.
providing ourselves a solution.
No, I didn't catch that. Could you repeat that?
Like problems with practical applications.
Yes, you need to pick
And
problems which, problems that exist around you. Now, the first thing that people might think is, you know, problems are already solved around us. But in reality, you just have to look a bit more and you'll see that, there are more unsolved problems than actually solved problems. There are a lot of problems out there. Just do a bit of research, just think about it. You will find a lot of problem statements which are out there. If someone is asking a question, how will the problem statement be given in a no theme hackathon? Exactly, there is no problem statement. You have to propose the problem statement. So in Yeah. So as Anirudh answered, there is no problem statement. You come up with your own problem and you come up with a solution to that problem. For example, so Anirudh is basically kind of like my hackathon partner, and we take part in a lot of hackathons that way. And our most recent idea is basically it's kind of this application that performs evaluation of answer scripts on its own. So basically, without any kind of teacher, it can automatically answer. It can automatically grade your answer scripts. Okay, so it uses machine learning and stuff like that. So this is a problem that actually came under. It can come under education if there's a theme, but if there is no theme as education, it will come under open innovation. So yeah. So the problem statement that we proposed was basically, there are a lot of papers today, and a lot of people who want to, you know, work. I'm sorry, a lot of, so a lot of papers, and basically, teachers take a lot of time to correct papers. So our problem statement was basically to reduce the time that it takes for teachers to correct papers, especially during, long exams such as boards and so on. And our solution was to basically introduce machine learning and, stuff like that. So someone is asking, don't know graphical encoding. Okay, so I will come to that soon. Actually, I'm going to talk about that now. Okay, so yeah, so that is about problem statements, and that is about solutions to problem statements. Now we are going to talk about the expectations in a hackathon. Okay. So a lot of you might feel that you guys will have to build the entire product in the 24 or whatever time limit hours, but that is actually not true. In fact, they do, even your judges and so on, they don't prefer a complete finished working product, at least in most hackathons. You do not have to finish the entire thing. That is, let us say you promise an Android app, and let's say you're not able to finish the app, but the core part of your app is working. At least when you run a few simulations and show them, they will be more than happy, because in a hackathon, all they expect is a prototype. They don't really want a complete finished product that can be, deployed in the real world and stuff like that. As long as it's a very simple prototype that can be used by everyone, it is more than enough. So yeah, a very simple prototype will do. In fact, a lot of hackathons, they don't really focus too much on the user interface itself. We have seen a lot of hackathons where people submit command line interfaces as the graphical interface, and they still do well, because it does not matter. As long as the core part of your thing is working, as long as your product kind of shows promise, it's more than enough. So basically, let's say you, in your solution or whatever, you promise 10 things, okay, and let's say in the 24 hours you can finish, like, let's say 7 or 8. It's more than enough. You don't have to like finish the remaining 2. As well as for a graphical interface, in all the hackathons I've been to, we have, like, Anirudh and I have built like barely existing graphical interfaces. Obviously, if you do have a graphical interface, it does add some kind of polish to your project, but it's not exactly a necessity. It's not necessary at all, in fact. A very simple interface will do. Just make sure that the interface is easy to use, and it's more than enough. So yeah, that is the answer to basically you do not need to have a complete working product. Basically, make sure that whatever you are working on has some kind of promise. That is, it looks feasible and it can be implemented completely given more time. So that is about what exactly is expected. Any questions so far? Okay. No questions. Okay, fine. Moving on. Okay, so the next thing on our agenda is basically scoring, grading, and how it's probably done. Okay, so thing is, you will never be alone in a hackathon. Okay, so uh, every hackathon, wherever you take part, will have something known as a mentor team. Okay, and the point of a mentor team is self-explanatory. They will always be there to kind of like guide you and help you out. So these people are basically experienced in the various domains, and every time you have any issues, or if you get stuck, or you guys don't know how to proceed, or if you basically need some more guidance on how to go about implementing your idea, then these people will always be there to kind of help you out and like suggest ways. Now they will obviously not sit down and code with you, but they will always be there to actually suggest solutions, try this out, try that out, stuff like that. For Space Jam 2, in fact, their mentor team will be the entire mentor team at Hackerspace. So that is a good 20 people will be there to help you guys out if you guys do have any kind of questions. So yeah, that is the mentor team. Now, regarding judging, okay, so most hackathons have 2 rounds of judging. So I'm going to talk about the 24 hours one, because for a 36 hours one, just add 1 more round, and for a 48-hour one, just add 2 more rounds. So for a 24-hour one, you have 2 rounds of judging. Traditionally, one is after 12 hours and one is after the complete 24 hours. Okay, someone else, does taking suggestions reduce our points? Not really, it does not. They actually, kind of, what do I say, encourage you guys to take guidance and ask doubts, because they don't want you guys to be stuck with a problem. Okay, so everyone's there to help you out. Anyway, so yeah, I was talking about judging. So as I said, there's usually 1 round after 12 hours and one after 24. So now what exactly happens in each of these rounds? So the first judging round is usually kind of known as a progress check round. Okay. Oh yeah, by the way, no elimination happens in a hackathon until the end of the entire thing. Okay, so don't worry about that. So after the first 12 hours, in the first progress check round, the mentors will usually themselves judge. So basically what will happen is, let's say you are working on a machine learning related project. The mentors for machine learning will come to you. They'll kind of check up on how your project is doing. They might ask you to, run it a few times, ask you to basically run it a few times, see how it is doing, and finally, give you some suggestions and so on. So yeah, so basically they're just there to kind of see how you guys are actually doing. Just, what do I say? Yeah, so this basically, they also do have a checklist. They make sure that all the teams are doing fine. They note down what you're having difficulties with. They note down what you're not having difficulties with, and they also keep a track of what you guys are actually doing. Okay, or rather how you guys are actually doing. And this round actually helps because it helps for the round 2 of judging, where people know which projects to look at. Okay, so that is round 1, which is basically like a progress check round. Now usually if you do bad in round 1, there is still a way out. It's not completely a lost cause. But then there is round 2. So the point of round 2 is to usually pick a top 15 or a top 20, or whatever number they want. So in round 2 as well, the mentors will come around, but this time it's going to be a bit more different, because in round 2 you are basically eliminating people. Okay, so in round 2, usually preference is firstly given to the people who did kind of well in round 1. Okay, but it is not a hard and fast rule, because there are a lot of people who actually pick up in the second 12 hours rather than the first 12 hours. There are people who get off to a slow start and then suddenly after 12 hours, make tremendous amount of progress. And there are also, cases of the other way around happening, where they make a lot of progress for the first 12 hours and they kind of hit a roadblock and that's it for them. So yeah, both of these cases are available, but the second round is something like, if you are, looking to place, if you are looking to win, then the second round is definitely something you have to do well in. So I'll come to that question next. I'll come to the questions next. Give me some time to finish up this thing. So yeah, so in the second round, the mentors will usually shortlist a top 15 kind of thing. But thing is, this top 15 isn't generally, what do I say, revealed kind of. It's usually done at the end. Yeah, someone has raised their hand. You want to ask a question? No? Okay, fine. Moving on. What was that? Yeah. Yeah, so basically the second round of judging is where you have to do well if you want to place, because that is where the top 15 are chosen, and after the top 15 are chosen, you move on. So before we talk about what happens to the top 15, let's talk about what they actually look at to shortlist top 15, as well as look at round one. So round one is a very simple thing. All they look at is how you're doing, how much progress you've made, what are you having difficulties with, what are you not having difficulties with, and whether your project shows some kind of promise. That is there some kind of potential in finishing the project? Like, is there some probability that you are indeed going to finish your idea and stuff like that? Because remember that mentors have access to everything that you submitted about your idea. So while filling up the forms or the registration process, whatever idea you submit, mentors know what you have submitted. So they know, like, if you have promised, let's say 10 things, and if you have done, let's say 4 things, mentors are going to know that you're having a hard time because you're still on number 4 out of number 10. The second round of judging is more strict. It's not exactly simple. So mentors look at a lot of other things for round two. There are things such as feasibility. There are things such as how well it can be implemented in the real world, how easy it can be implemented, whether it can be deployed easily, like how many people can it reach out to, does your application actually have use, or are you just creating a fancy product? Then stuff like how, they aren't going to pay too much focus on how polished your product is at that point of time, because given more time you are going to come up with a better looking product. But it's more on so round two is basically more about the feasibility, the scope, and the applications of your idea, rather than how your idea actually looks. So yeah, on these factors they will shortlist you and you will be selected in the top 15. Once you're in the top 15 or whatever, this is kind of like the more interesting round, because this is where your top 3 are chosen. So now, how are the top 3 chosen? Now, if you have themes, okay, if you have themes like healthcare, education, so on, so on, so on, then what happens is for each theme there's a top 3. Okay, so healthcare has a top 3 prize, education has a top 3 prize, security has a top 3 prize, and so on. So for each theme, people will pitch their ideas, and you will have to actually pitch your ideas to professionals working in that domain. Okay, so usually hackathons end with kind of like a pitching session where the panel of judges basically consists of professionals in that field. So yeah, they know their stuff. You should not bluff your way around it. That is a pretty bad idea, because they actually know what you're talking about, and there's a good chance they have already thought about your idea or they have come across it in some form or the other. So yeah, you will have to pitch your idea to this panel of judges where they will basically judge your idea, and it's kind of very similar to round two, except that the people judging it are professionals in this. So yeah, if it's themes, it's like that. But again, if it's open innovation, everyone just pitches at the same time, and among the various people, you select the top 3. So yeah, that is that. So usually hackathons don't focus too much on the business side of it. That is, they don't look at how much profits you'll be making, or stuff like how much cash it will bring in, how it will affect, what is the cost of implementation, and stuff like that, because that's another side to the idea. People just look at how well your idea can be pitched and how well your idea can be implemented in the real world, and most importantly, how easy it is to actually use your idea. So yeah, that is the final round of judging, which happens, and after that the top 3 are selected, and event over. So yeah, so let me just quickly go through the questions before the next section. Is internet access allowed for documentation, finding solutions? Yes, you are allowed to use whatever you want, internet, anything. The only thing which you're not allowed to use is proprietary software. So you cannot use anything that you pay for. Anything open source is allowed. So if you find any code on GitHub, if you find anything at all, you can use it. This is actually my next topic, which I'll be talking about now. How long are each of these rounds? So round one, mentors will usually stay with you for about 10 minutes. Round 2 is about 10 to 15 minutes, and the judging round is also about 10 minutes per team. Yeah. Is the hackathon going to be online? Yes, it will be completely online because, quite honestly, we do not have the cash to have it offline. What if someone uses something that they've made before the 24 hours, or is it allowed? Okay, so um, ethically, you are not supposed to build anything way before the hackathon and bring something to the hackathon, because it kind of breaks the idea of a contest, right? You cannot come into a hackathon with a ready finished product and say, okay, I'm going to chill for 24 hours now. But however, people do tend to come with starter code. People do tend to come with a skeleton of a plan ready. So it just kind of like speeds up the process. So yeah, people do tend to come with a few skeletal stuff ready, but yeah, not too much. You can obviously plan way ahead of the hackathon. You can plan, like, if you want, you can plan out your entire project. You can plan out everything, but most of the code, or preferably all of the code, should be done during the hackathon itself. Now there are few ways to check this, but there are also other ways to bypass this. I'm not going to talk about how to bypass this, but uh, to check this, what basically happens is you are supposed to make, what hackathons, online hackathons at least do, is you're supposed to maintain a repository on GitHub, and you are expected to push changes every, every time you make a good amount of development in your work, basically. So yeah, so basically, the mentors and all, they will be monitoring how much progress you're making during the hackathon, and so they will look at your commit history and stuff, and look at how much code you've pushed. So yeah, anything that has been pushed before the hackathon will immediately be invalid for obvious reasons. And yeah, okay, so next question: is there a preferred license the code should be released with? I mean, not really, because hackathons don't really own any of your code. I mean, it's what your license you want to maintain for your code. It's up to you.
You can release it without a license. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, without a license
For
as
this,
well. Yeah. Okay, so is it mandatory to have a team? For this hackathon, yes, 2 to 4 members, but we would highly recommend you for any other hackathon as well to take part in a team, because 24 hours you cannot code alone. Okay, you need people to split the work with. I will be also talking about how to, form efficient team ups and how to actually plan a hackathon soon. Do we need GitHub for this hackathon? Yes, you do. Do you need to keep updating GitHub? Yes, you do. More details about that will come out soon. I know you guys want to know the Space Jam hackathon. So probably towards the end of this session, I will talk a bit about the rules that we have. Okay. So I think there was this one question which someone had spoken about. Yeah, okay. So let's just talk about the team formation. So yeah. So it is highly recommended you do work in teams, because you don't want to work on the entire thing alone. Okay, there are a lot of people, a lot of work is there to be done, and it is extremely efficient if you can split up your work. So there are usually two broad methods that people tend to choose while forming a hackathon team. Now, assume your idea is not very complex to implement. Okay, it's kind of like a straightforward idea, or rather the way to implement the idea is kind of straightforward, but you do need a lot of components working. For example, you need a good interface, you need a good backend, you probably might need, you might be working with something related to machine learning, so you need some kind of, machine learning algorithms at the backend to work. So in that case, what people tend to do is they form teams which are made with people from different specializations. Okay, so you tend to pick someone who's good at making an interface, preferably someone who's into web dev to kind of make a nice website for you. You take 1 or 2 people who will work on the core part of your idea. So let's say if your project again uses something like machine learning, then you'd probably want to have 1 or 2 people working on that core part. And the last part would be someone who is generally good at putting things together or working on the back end itself. So yeah, basically it is to, split up the core components as team members and select a team such that you have a very good balanced team, such that you have an all-rounded team. That is one thing. Okay. Now the other method is, although it sounds stupid, okay, it might sound stupid at first,
Can
but
you repeat the last thing?
sorry.
Can you repeat the last thing
Yeah,
about the team members?
Yeah, so okay, so basically the first method is to basically split up the components and find team members who are good in those components. For example, if you're working with, okay, let's take the same example of the centralized database of health records. Okay, if you want to create an app for that, you'd want someone who is good at making apps. Okay, if there is some kind of machine learning involved, assume, okay, there's no machine learning here, but assume there is some machine learning involved, then you'd probably want one or two members to work on that. So you'd want two members who are good at machine learning, one person who's good at app dev. Let's say you also need, there's a ton of backend work to do, a lot of stitching together the different components, getting stuff to work together. Then you'd want someone who's good at all this stuff. So basically you create a very balanced team that has members contributing to different domains, so that every domain makes progress at the same time. So yeah, someone brought up complexity of the project. Anirudh kind of gave the right idea. I'll talk more about that soon. So coming to the second way of forming teams, so this method of forming teams is usually what I go with, what Anirudh and I go with. So usually if you have a very complex idea in mind, okay, so let's say your idea is heavily reliant on, let's say, a very big deep learning model, or it relies a lot on machine learning and there's a lot of fine tuning to be done, or in general it's a very complex thing, but it is focused only in one domain. Okay, so you could say that, so basically it's kind of like an idea where the interface does not matter much. You can probably do away with the interface. In that case, what you do is you get multiple people working on the same thing, and that is what I go with. That is what Anirudh and I go with always, and it works. Okay, the reason, and that might not make sense at first, because you're saying like, okay, there's no one to work on the interface, there's no one to work on the let's say a web app or whatever. But if you take everyone from the same thing, coding the core part of your idea becomes very simple. It's like you have multiple people working on the same thing, and after a point in time, let's say after 12 to 16 hours, your thing is done. Okay, and here's the beauty of it. Okay, so if you are done with the core part of your, let's say, your website or your app in, let's say, 12 to 16 hours, that still leaves you with almost 8 hours to build that interface. And even if you know basic HTML, or let's say you don't even know basic HTML, it is super easy to come up with a very simple interface. Okay, you do not need 8 hours for that. You can do that even 1 to 1.5 hours. In fact, if you ask Ani, all our interfaces have been made like 1 to 1.5 hours before the deadline, because we work on the entire thing and just we leave behind some time for that. So yeah, these are the two generally taken methods. So yeah, either divide yourselves based on the different domains, or take multiple people for the same domain to kind of simple tasks out. Okay, so Abhay has a question: how to divide ourselves based on domain specialization right now in the learning stage? So yes, it is a very good point you brought up, because a lot of you are still learning, a lot of you are, figuring stuff out. So now here's the thing. Abhay, you do not have 10 minutes to code a project, you have 24 hours. Okay, so right now you guys might think, oh my god, 24 hours, I'm not going to finish. But once you start, you will realize that 24 hours is a good amount of time. Okay, we're talking about an entire day. Okay, you have 24 hours. You have time to pick stuff up. And besides, as I said, you are allowed to use anything that is open source. Okay, so even during the hackathon, if you let's say want to use something, or if you don't know how to code something, you are free to go to Stack Overflow, GitHub, whatever, and use whatever code is there. There isn't any restriction. No one's going to stop you. Besides, we have seen a lot of people literally learning up a new framework or learning up a new language to implement something in the middle of the hackathon. So yeah, it is not a very new thing to learn something or implement something. But yeah, I do agree, because you guys are in the learning stage, it will be difficult. So yeah, as Anirudh again said, you do not have to be a pro in any domain, but if you have someone who's interested in a domain, it will be much easier to take them rather than someone else who's not interested in a domain. Could you give an example of some problem solution for beginners? Okay. Okay, so like 2, 3 hackathons back, I think Anirudh and I had worked on this. It was this very simple application. Okay, so it was this command line interface where you could create slideshows of pictures on the command line itself. Okay, so you didn't have to like go to any website online, upload your pictures, and then create a slideshow. You were able to basically, through one single command itself on the command line, you were able to create a slideshow. I think it's still on Anirudh's GitHub or something. So it was called, I think CMD show. I think I forgot. Yeah. So yeah, these are the type of simple problems that you take up. You could so you don't have to build something overly complicated. You don't have to build some very deep learning model that can do that can make a car drive on its own. Very simple thing will do. Yes. Yeah, that's the repo. Different. Yes. It doesn't have to have a direct impact on society. It can also be something like that. It does not have to be uh, something something that can be directly used by society. So it doesn't have to be something like that. You can always work on something similar, as this person said.
You said the second method of like creating a team where like everyone's an expert in that one particular thing and everyone's working on the single thing.
Yeah.
So like, but you divide the one single program into different parts and give it to
Yeah.
different people.
So basically what happens is there are obviously different components to the thing. It's not that the entire thing is one component, right? There are multiple components to the thing. So yeah, you divide that and you kind of like work together towards it. Any other questions before we move on to the next thing? Any questions at all? Our second, third, fourth year peeps. Well, see, okay, we won't obviously restrict people. Okay. Now, fourth year, no one's going to take part, so don't worry about that. As for second years and third years, we do not want to keep a hard restriction. We want to have more registration, so obviously it will be open. So yeah, but obviously we do expect more first years to take part rather more than second years or even third years for that matter. So yeah. Yes, there's a good chance second years and third years will be taking part, but you guys will be more in numbers, so I guess probability is with your side. Anything else? Any like specific questions? How much we can learn by now and anything extra we could learn? Okay, so see, the reason we've been having all these hackerspace sessions is so that we guys can introduce you to the various technologies as well as the various concepts. Okay, so I think everything has started off except data science and deep learning. Deep learning is due to start in a few days, and data science will happen when the mentors are available. So yeah, if you want, you can attend the sessions. You learn more about them. But yeah, if you guys are interested, you can always learn on your own. There's nothing holding you back. Okay, any other questions about the hackathon itself? Like anything else you want? Any questions about the topic or? Okay, just reading through the questions. Okay, yeah, code complexity, yes. Okay, so yeah, you do not actually have points for how complex your project is. Okay, so as I mentioned the grading scheme earlier, if you remember, there is more focus given on how much of a problem your solution solves rather than how complicated your solution is. Okay, so for example, the command line slideshow maker that I spoke about, it's not a very complicated project to build. Okay, we were actually making good progress in very short time, and although we did not win or come in top 5 for that matter, it was it was kind of like a nice project because it was able to make slideshows very quickly, and even we've used it a couple of times. So yeah, you do not win if your thing is very complex. You do not win if your code is, let's say, 1,000 lines or 10,000 lines and so on. You do not have to build a very complicated project at all. In fact, simpler solutions are often the best solutions. So yeah, you don't have to build a very complicated idea to win. As I said, a lot of it depends on how much of a problem it solves, how feasible it is, and the actual scope of your solution. So yeah, any other questions? Maybe to the name of the person who's advising us. My name is Aditya. Hello, in case I didn't introduce myself. Okay, so Anirudh is gonna take over now. Over to you, Ani.
Cool. Hey everyone. I can see from the questions that you're all super excited. Right. So I'll probably just give you a couple of pointers on like what you can think about and what you can work on during the hackathon. So this is mainly from my experience, our experience in working. So some of you might already be experienced, might already have attended some and know some of this stuff. But for the others, I think this might be helpful in starting off. Okay, we have a question. Submit the topics before the hackathon. No, for this hackathon, you do not have to submit your topics beforehand. It will like you can just come in and start working on your ideas. Right. So I'll sort of or give you the hints in 3 sections. Is what you can think of before the hackathon. So the first thing, of course, is to come up with a problem statement or an idea. So get together with your team, think of some interesting ideas. Again, I'm emphasizing the point that it does not have to be complex. In fact, it is probably better if it is not very complex, because you might you have a better chance of actually completing a major part of it if it is not very complex. Along those lines. So that is the first thing. And the second thing is try to start planning on planning based on 2 things. Okay. So you need to plan the basic components of your solution. And what I mean by that is, so let me, I think it's easier with an example. So I guess you guys are already introduced to Command Show, which is what me and Aditya worked on for a few hackathons back. And basically all it does is it takes a bunch of pictures and creates a slideshow out of them, creates a video which is a slideshow, and it allows you to add different transition effects and all that kind of stuff. So so if you how you might go about building that application, so you know that you're going to have a bunch of pictures. I'll say we're building it in Python because that is built in Python, and probably most are at least familiar, or have started using Python. So so it is a way to read in those images, right? So you have the images in a directory and you want to read in those images. What you want to do is images in some way. So that is concatenate those images. You need a way to display each image for a specific amount of time. And then you need a way to export the generated video. Application, right? You have a bunch of pictures, which are time, and you create a video and you export it. component is you can start thinking about transitions. How would you create transitions between two, right? So high level of your application. Now you don't really need to study or know exactly how to implement these blocks right away. You can actually start doing that during the hackathon. You have plenty of time. Idea of these high level blocks direction when you start working on your application. One aspect of planning. The second aspect of planning is Aditya has said already. Sort of think about who's going to be working on what on the day based on what you're comfortable with. I'm going to repeat, guys don't need to be pros at anything. So just something that you're comfortable with, something that you enjoy doing. Right. So that is your planning phase. That is what your hackathon. And another thing that I'm going to you do before the hackathon when you're deciding your project statement. So again, I'm going to go over the thing that someone asked, how complex do the projects need to be, right? Code complexity is not really very important because a lot of great ideas are extremely simple, right? But it's just something that is very unique and useful. So as Aditya said, there are going to be a certain criteria on which your project is judged, and usually these criteria are like very wide ranging, right? So for example, you might be evaluated on innovative of your idea. You might be evaluated how polished your product is. You might be evaluated on how easy to use your interface is. There are a bunch of things that can be evaluated, and it is very hard for a single team to tick all of these boxes, and that is done for a reason. Some ideas may not be the most innovative, but they might take an existing idea and iterate upon it and make it easier to use, more polished. And some ideas, they might be like something completely unique, something like all. And of course, like in 24 hours, you can't be product out of that. So you run your innovation, right? So when you're planning your project idea, right, just think about which of these boxes your project is going to tick, right? That helps when you're working on your project, and let's say and you're slightly falling behind your schedule. Maybe you feel that all your features, then it helps you decide which of the features are most important for your project to tick the box earlier. So if, for example, you thought that okay, this is going to have, you can spend more time working on the UI and make it look polished at the expense of maybe a couple of features. If you thought that is more important, you can spend more functionality and maybe have a slightly something of that sort. So yeah, what I have to say about planning before your hackathon. And during your hackathon, you have 24 hours, as Aditya said, a lot of time. Realize it now, but you're actually going to get quite bored like in certain periods in the middle. Have a lot of interesting to keep the game. So we're going to have both educative, like we're going to have as well as other fun events. So you're not going to get bored. Let's address some of these questions. When will be the next hackathon? Bro, we still need to plan this one. We still need to get this done with. Sharing other hackathons that come up soon. Okay, we may not be organizing one very soon, but we will be sharing others. Coding. So how much should I know? See, okay, right. This is something that I wanted to address now. So during the hackathon, right? So as I said earlier, when you're planning out your broad high-level blocks of your, So during a hackathon, the first thing and the main thing you're going to be doing hackathon is finding out how to implement those broad blocks. Now, like when we participate in a hackathon, we don't really go into the hackathon knowing exactly what we're going to do and then start coding. We spend a lot of time during the hackathon just searching, implement certain features like that. Large part of what you're going to be doing is Google searching, implementation, all that stuff. So it doesn't really matter how much you know right now. Like again, for example, you're going to be using a lot of ready-made code, so you just need to know how to use it. Maybe on something related to you're not really going to implement all these algorithms from scratch. You're going to use a library like scikit-learn and just use it, right? So focus more on implementing the idea rather than the smaller that make up the implementation, right? So again, emphasizing you don't really need to know much exactly how you're going to implement something. There's plenty of documentation resources online on how to do that. You just need to have a broad idea of what you need to do, right? Come there and code, or can we state it's completely online. You're going to be participating from home. It is fully online. Exactly the mentors keeping in touch with the teams. We will have a communicating with you guys. So we will be sharing the link once all the registrations, and we will be keeping in touch on that. You can contact the mentors for help at any time, and all our judge taking care of that from.
Yeah, so just adding on to that. So yeah, if it's online, most hackathons do have a Discord server for it. And once you do join the Discord server, you are given access to like a text channel as well as a voice channel. So yeah, that is what is used to, communicate with the mentors and keep in touch with them. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, that is how we are going to be communicating with you.
I'm not sure why are the questions coming for offline stuff because as we said, it's completely online.
Yeah.
Will we be allowed to code for long periods? I mean, it's up to you, right? If you want to sleep, you're free to sleep. What are the dates of the hackathon? So yes, I will be talking about Space Jam in a small while. Let me just finish up whatever is there generally about a hackathon and then talk about, uh, you know, wardens won't say anything, bro. Uh, okay, let's just talk about what generally the stuff I have left for a hackathon. Okay,
Yeah.
so I have two main points to cover. Anirudh was already talking about that. So a hackathon is not just working about your project because in a hackathon there are a lot of other fun activities that keep on happening. Some of these are workshops, some of these are guest lectures and speeches, some of these are just fun events that happen. And unfortunately, since things are online, there isn't much that we can do. But just to give you an idea of what happens in an offline hackathon, but sometimes there are gaming consoles set up for you to play games. There are nice beanbags all over the place. There are sometimes sports tournaments that happen. If some of you are from the EC campus, there's a hackathon known as Ingenious that happens at EC campus. There's a table tennis tournament that happens. There's a badminton tournament that happens, and so on. There's those gaming tournaments that also happen. Apart from that, sometimes there are, as I said, there are workshops that happen. There are regular quizzes that keep happening. Quizzes sometimes happen at midnight and so on. And they come and tell you to take part and stuff like that. There's also, food being given to you at every like 4 or 5 hours. So yeah, a lot of stuff does happen in a hackathon. So unfortunately, you guys will not be able to experience an offline hackathon for quite a while now. But if you guys do have the chance to experience an offline hackathon, please do. Okay, trust me, it is nothing compared to what an online hackathon is. Unfortunately, we will not be able to match the same experience. But yeah, do try to take part. Secondly, how to exactly plan. Okay, so this is kind of an important topic. So generally the first 12 hours of your hackathon are the most crucial hours. Okay, do not spend any amount of time wasting those first 12 hours, because that's firstly when you can get most of the work done. Secondly, if you remember, I said that the first 12 hours, I mean, sorry, after the first 12 hours you have the first judging round, and if you can make a good impression in the first judging round, they will kind of remember your name for the second judging round. Okay, so yeah, as I said, your first 12 hours are the most important. To try to, what do I say, get at least 50 to 60% of your thing done. If not 50 to 60%, at least 40% of your thing done. Or even if you don't get 40%, make sure you make a good amount of progress on the core part of your app or project or application or whatever. Okay, the core part of it needs to become ready. Once the core part of it is ready, everything else is a side component, and it won't take too much time to add on those parts. Besides, as I said, they focus more on the core component than on the other components. So yeah, the first 12 hours, do not waste them. Very crucial. Try to get them done. The next 12 hours are kind of like a more relaxed period, because if you have actually done work in the first 12 hours, you will be very relaxed in the second 12 hours, because the second 12 hours is more of polishing and fine tuning. So you might have a bit of ugly code, so you might want to clean it up. Sometimes your code might not be very efficient because you might have some unnecessary loops here and there, so you try to clean that up. Sometimes there might be some issues, some bugs, or some corner cases, some edge things which are not working. So those are the things you try to finish up in the next 6 to 7 hours. So roughly by hour number 18, 19, 20, this is where you should be done with 80% of what you are trying to show. Remember, 80% of what you're trying to show, and not 80% of the entire thing, because as I said, nobody cares about the entire thing. If what you intend to show is 80 to 90% complete, you are sorted. You can pretty much sleep out the next 4 hours. Okay, now I am assuming you guys, since it is your first hackathon, you might not stay awake for the entire 24 hours. Anirudh and I have stayed awake for the entire set of 24 hours, and it does not happen in a single try. So yeah, you guys need some experience with that. So I am assuming you guys will sleep. So yeah, don't try to stress yourself too much for the first hackathon, by the way. Just think of it as a nice learning and fun experience. Anyway, so moving on, the next 4 hours are kind of like preparation. Okay, because you cannot wing it. Okay, when the mentors come for the second round, you need to have a pitch. You need to have a script for what you're going to say and how you're going to present your idea. Some of them prefer a presentation or a PPT. They really like it if you have a PPT to explain your project and show the working. Plan out how exactly which person is going to talk about which part of the project, which person is going to explain this part, which person knows execute that part, and so on. So this is the type of stuff that needs to happen in hour number 20 to 23. And also make sure you have one person trying to work on the user interface if possible. As I said, not necessary, not compulsory, but very nice if you do have a user interface. Does not have to be a very well polished interface, but any usable interface will do. In fact, I'm not sure all of you guys know, but Python has a library called tkinter. It's a very simple, graphical user interface making library, and it's very simple to use, and it helps you come up with interfaces just like that. So yeah. So yeah, that is the point about that. Yeah, so that is the plan of events. So as I said, first 12 hours very crucial. You should try to get most of your work done, or at least the core part of your thing working. Because always, I remember that, always start working on the core part. Start working on the functionality. Don't start working on the interface. Don't start working on stuff like making a nice button or making a nice interface for the thing. Start off with the core functionality of the entire thing. Then move on towards the other things. The other things are not important. In fact, if your core functionality is broken, they will not care about how nice your interface looks. So Okay, so someone has a question. Um, College is going to have classes for some of us on Saturdays. Won't this clash with the class timings? Unfortunately, yes, they will. That is, if you have classes on that day. Hopefully, 27th, there is nothing on that day. Worst case, I guess, just bunk, I don't know. But since this is a PES event, you will get, most probably you guys should get attendance for it. If there is a class, I'm not gonna guarantee anything right now, but usually for hackathons you do get. Okay, so moving on to the next one. Is the session being recorded? Yes, it's being recorded. For offline hackathons, do you have to stay in the venue for 24 hours? Yes, you do have to stay in the venue, but most hackathons don't take place in a closed room. They don't take place in, a very small, isolated or kind of area. They take place on campuses and stuff like that. So you're free to roam around the campus. Okay, so that is it for the questions about a hackathon. Hopefully you guys understood what is a hackathon. You guys have something to take away from this session. The general set of tips, pointers, whatever for the hackathon are done. So I'm going to be talking about Space Jam now. Not too many details because honestly I've already given out all of the details. So talking about Space Jam. Okay. So yes, the recording is, recording will be on YouTube soon. Okay, so talking about Space Jam. As I said, Space Jam is the first iteration of our hackathon this year, and so we have decided to actually push the hackathon behind by a week. The reason we want to do this is because all of our tests have been, kind of postponed by a week, and we felt it would be right to give us one more week of time to make it a better experience for you guys. So yes, it has been postponed by a week. It will now take place on 27th and 28th of February. So it won't take place on 20th and 21st, as I've said. So 27th and 28th are the dates for the hackathon, last week of February for that matter. It will again be from 24 hours. The timings of the hackathon for now are tentative, but there are 10 a.m. to 10 a.m. The reason we have chosen 10 a.m. is because it will give you a lot of time, and we feel that not much time will be wasted in sleeping or whatever. Because assuming you guys sleep from, let's say, 12 a.m. to 6 a.m., then you will pretty much lose only those 6 hours of the hackathon. But if we start the hackathon at 12 a.m., you will lose out on 2 sleeps kind of thing. So yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, so 10 a.m. to 10 a.m. will be the hackathon timings. We believe that round 2 of judging will end by roughly 2 p.m. And if, let's say, taking a break in the middle and stuff here and there, by 3 to 3:30, the final top 15 judging will start off, and by 6:30 to 7, everything will get over. We will be live streaming the top 15 judges on YouTube via StreamYard again, so you guys don't have to worry about how we are going to do that. So yeah, round 1 of judging will happen exactly after 12 hours. So if 10 a.m. it starts, 10 p.m. your judging round 1 will start. So yeah, if you guys tend to have late dinners, have it early, stuff like that. Round 2 of judging again after the hackathon itself. So yeah. Any other question of the hackathon? Yeah, it is the theme is open innovation. So what do I say? There's no theme. You guys can submit whatever problem statements you want. Prizes, we are still deciding the prizes. We don't want to reveal the prize money yet, but do know that the first prize is above 5,000 rupees. Okay, it's towards 10,000 rupees. So if you do well and win, good for you. Then, as I said, team sizes are 2 to 4. And oh yes, I think I forgot to talk about this. So each hackathon has something called tracks. Okay, TRACKS, tracks. So tracks are basically offered by sponsors. Okay, so what tracks basically do is they give you something like, okay, here's our API. So basically a company will come and say, here is an API, and if you use my API and let's say you are the best, like the project that you have made is the best project that uses my particular API, then there's a bigger cash prize for you guys. Okay, so these are known as tracks. Tracks are basically used to offer more money, or rather more incentives to use the particular API. We do have a few tracks this time. The prize money for tracks is 10,000 and 15,000. We won't be revealing what are the tracks, but yeah, that is also a hefty amount of money, as you guys have realized. These are all by the sponsors, of course. Some of them also offer just some other kinds of benefits here and there. When will tracks be released? Oh yeah, by the way, so we are planning to start registrations from either Monday, or if not Monday, by hopefully Tuesday, Wednesday. In fact, the portal with which we are contacting, which is Devfolio, we were setting up the hackathon and so on. Tracks will be released by Monday, Tuesday, and hopefully by the end of next week, every single detail about the hackathon should be finalized, which is including the prize money, including the complete schedule of events, even though it's kind of final, but yeah. Yeah, so basically those small things here and there which are left out, those should be finalized. Registration fee, there is no registration fee. It's completely free. So yeah, just all you have to do is register and attend. That's all. So yeah, any questions about Space Jam? Like, for the details on Discord, yes, all your details will be on Discord. Don't worry, we will share all the links with you, and all the details will also go up on the Hackerspace website. So yes, so the hackathon will require you to use GitHub. Okay. The reason is, as I said, it helps us keep track, and also GitHub helps the mentors and the judges kind of execute your code to see how it runs and stuff like that. So we will be having a small little GitHub workshop. I think Anirudh will be conducting it. It will basically show you everything that will be required, at least for a hackathon. So yeah, if you guys don't know how to use GitHub, please do get used to that. You will need it for the hackathon. We will be expecting you to use it, and frankly, you have to use it. A single person can't participate. I wouldn't say cannot participate. I would say it would be stupid to participate. I mean, will you guys host on GitHub, or will you host on your own repo? No, you have to create the repo, on one of your teammates' accounts and share the repo link with us. So yeah, it's still your project. We just have access to it. You don't have to add us as collaborators or anything. Just make it public. Okay, any questions about Space Jam? Hopefully registrations will start off Monday, but even if it does not start off on Monday, you guys should definitely start forming teams. Don't wait for us to start registrations, because we have already given you all the details. Once registration starts, it's basically like a more formatted way of representing all the details, but all the details are right here. We just told you 2 to 4 members, open innovation, any theme, anything at all. So yeah. So I mean, you guys have all the details to take part. Do try to take part. If you guys are interested in the tracks, but the tracks can get a bit complicated. The main reason for that being that they are blockchain related. Okay. So yeah. We will be having a few workshops as well, maybe before, maybe on the day of the hackathon. We are also trying to get a few guest speakers so that they can talk to you about the various technologies and stuff. And moreover, it's a more fun experience for you guys. Okay, someone raised their hand. Would you like to ask a question? Okay, no. Fine. Any more questions about Space Jam? when the GitHub session be conducted? Honestly, maybe like 1 or 2 weeks, not right now. Mentors are kind of busy. There is like in our schedule of events, there is this 1 week which is kind of free. So maybe that time Anirudh could take up the GitHub workshop. Also, we are also trying to have a small workshop on something known as a Jupyter notebook, because a lot of you might not know what that is. So we will also have that soon. And if you guys do want to get started off with GitHub, there's PESOS recently had their GitHub workshop. You can always watch that as well. Okay, someone raised their hand. Do you have a question, or are you testing the feature? That's weird. Okay, if you have the feature, it means the limit on this call is 250 people. Weird stuff. So can we use Jupyter? Yes, you can use Jupyter. As I said, I mean, if the core functionality of the thing is working, why not? Any questions? Space Jam, hackathon related, hackerspace related? Nothing at all? If you guys don't enter your team's fine. Yeah, that is also allowed. Just make sure everyone who's taking part is in college, that's all. Teammates from different college, yes, you can take part. Different colleges is fine, different batches are fine, different departments is fine, different branches also is fine. Just make sure you guys are in college, that's all. Is it fine to be in the Hackerspace Discord server, or should we be recruited by you guys? I don't get that question. Is this with respect to the recruitments? To take part in the hackathon, you don't have to be part of Discord server also. We will be, publishing it, marketing it, so don't worry about that. As for, if you play a core part in the organization, that is in the organizing committee of the hackathon, I don't know, I don't think so most of you are here. I think only 1 or 2 of you here. But if you are a core part of the organizing committee, then unfortunately you will not be able to take part. This refers to the mentor team for obvious reasons. So yeah, even I won't be able to take part. Anirudh also won't be able to take part. But yeah, who's going to be judging? Okay, mentor round 1, mentor round 2 is mentors. So I will be there, Anirudh will be there, the other mentors will be there, so on. As for the judges, we are in the process of getting judges. So yeah, you'll get to know about judges soon. As I said, all these details will be finalized by next week. So yeah, by let's say end of this month, all those details should be fixed. Does Hackerspace have a WhatsApp group? Sorry, no. We only have Discord because it's more organized on Discord. Could I summarize the session? Well, I cannot summarize in a 1 hour session now, but it was recorded. So yeah, we will be uploading the entire thing. Feel free to watch it soon. Recruitment procedure. 1 minute. Let me just switch off the recording and then answer this. So thank you guys. If you guys have any questions, stay on call. We'll answer your questions. But this is it for the hackathon and Space Jam discussions. So I'm just going to stop recording now.